What's up, polyglots? Good afternoon. I remember last time when I started to learn Spanish and Portuguese language. That was last year, I think around August. It was very difficult for me to understand when people were speaking in Portuguese. I went on YouTube and I opened a video. People were speaking in Spanish. Then I switched on the subtitles to see the words, but still it was difficult for me to understand, even if I saw the words that the people were saying, but it was still difficult to understand. Last time I tried to watch a video in Swahili. I think I mentioned in another video that I was learning Swahili for some time, but I was using the traditional method of following grammatical rules. Until now, I know grammatical rules in Swahili, but still I cannot understand when people are speaking. So what did I figure out? I understood that your understanding depends on the amount of passive vocabulary that you have. What is passive vocabulary? We've got two types of vocabulary that a person may have. There is passive vocabulary and active vocabulary. Active vocabulary is the vocabulary that I'm using right now when I'm speaking. I don't need to think, it's there, it's on my fingertips, So that's the vocabulary that we call active, because it's always used, so you have it, you use it every time. Then the passive vocabulary is the vocabulary that you know and it's stored in the long-term memory and it's not being used right now. Okay, that passive vocabulary helps me to understand when people speak. Now, when I listen to some native speakers, let's say I'm listening to Barack Obama or to the current president of the United States, Dr. Joe Biden. Okay, I'm calling him doctor because I love him so much. To Joe Biden, when he's speaking, he may use some words that I know, but I don't use them when I'm speaking. For example, today when I was at work, someone used the word lucrative. Lucrative, it means profitable. Okay, we're talking about business, and the person said, that's a lucrative business. So lucrative means profitable. But when I speak, I always say profitable. I never use lucrative. Okay, maybe up from today onwards I'll maybe try to use lucrative. Okay, so lucrative is a passive vocabulary that I have, but the active that I have is profitable, because these are the words that I use whenever I speak. So me knowing that lucrative means profitable, and that vocab, I have it in my passive vocabulary and it's in the long-term memory, it helps me to understand when people speak. Okay, and when I am speaking, the more I practice, the more I convert the passive vocabulary that I have into active vocabulary. So if you always hear some words, if you always hear or you always read and listen to some words, those words, even if they are stored in the passive vocabulary, you may activate them into active vocabulary. Now when you start using them, then we can say, now this word has moved from your passive to your active vocabulary. So listening is very important. Actually, I mentioned in another video that when someone is learning a language, it is very important to develop listening skills. You have to understand what people are saying. Okay, like I told you that here in Namibia now there's a language that is called Oshikwanyama. I understand Oshikwanyama right now, but not everything, of course. But there's a certain percentage of words that I can understand, the certain percentage of the vocab that I understand. So that vocab that I have in Oshikwanyama right now, it's still passive. I cannot use it. I cannot speak. The same with Swahili. I have the words. When someone says jina langu ninaitwa Tatenda, my name is Tatenda, which is almost the similar in Shona, I understand when people speak, because that vocab, but that vocab is still in my passive, because when I'm in front of someone who is a native speaker, let's say people from Tanzania, I will not be able to use a lot of words, but jina langu ninaitwa, I know that one. Now it's in my active vocabulary because I can say it without even thinking. Okay, so some people contacted me and they were asking me, how can I develop listening skills? I said, you need to have more passive vocabulary. That's why the issue of listening and reading comes in. It is very important because it helps you to absorb the language. It helps you to acquire the language, because in this era, 21st century, we no longer talk of learning languages, we talk of acquiring languages. 1985, a researcher is also a linguist called Stephen Krashen, talked about language acquisition. And he said that the only and most effective way of learning a language or acquiring a language is through listening and reading. Listening and reading, you have to listen and read comprehensible input. Comprehensible input is the input or something that you can listen to and you understand that thing. Okay. And Stephen Krashen mentioned something that is very important. He said, if you know that your level now in French or in English or in any language that you are learning is A1, you have to listen to maybe A2 level stuff. So that stuff will help you to develop and you'll be learning new vocabulary. But if you are B1 and you keep on listening B1 things, or maybe A1, yet you're already on the higher level, it will not help you. So you need to learn to listen to something that you can understand 85% or 90% of it, and the 15% can be incomprehensible. Stephen Krashen also said, when you're listening to comprehensible input, it has to be interesting. You can listen to something that is comprehensible, but it's not interesting. Last time someone came here, the person that I'm helping to learn French, we're listening to a video that we're watching a video actually, and it was comprehensible. The person could understand, but it was about cooking. The person doesn't like cooking, and the person said, no, I can understand what the people are saying, but I'm not interested in this stuff. I asked him, what do you want? He said, I like football. We started to watch a video about football. They were talking about Messi in French. The person could understand and he was following because he was interested. So you need to listen to compelling input. Okay, so that is very important when learning a language. So thank you so much. I think that's what all I had to say about passive vocabulary. It is very important, very important. Okay, so try to watch something. Go on YouTube. I told you YouTube is my best school because that's where I learn languages. Of course, I use Link, which is also very good, but I don't use Link every time. So right, I think that's all I had for today, and been a long time because I'm swamped with work and I cannot record videos every day or 2 videos a day like I used to do. But keep on learning, keep on learning. Learning a language is no longer a choice right now. There are people who tell me that I'm an engineer, why do I need to learn foreign languages? I've seen a lot of people here who speak several languages and they've got plenty of opportunities. You cannot count the opportunities that they have. Okay, it's very important. You need to learn language, even if you're an engineer. I remember when I was in Algeria, we had this false narrative of saying, I'm learning medicine, I'm doing this, so as long as I understand what I'm doing in class. What I've seen is, like, now when you go back to Zimbabwe, they want to see if you really know French, and they will ask you, okay, so now you did your degree in French, but you cannot speak French. So how did you understand the economics that you were learning? Okay, so it's very important. Some people, like this person was telling me that, because I studied in Algeria, now at work they said we need someone who can speak French, and then we want to send the person out, for a conference. So you need to understand, take it seriously. Language learning has to be taken seriously. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sharing the video. Hasta luego. Peace.